Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers, Facebookians. I am down to one book after this one. That's right. Now let's get down to brass tacks. I'm not going to compare the two that much. But you've seen the video where the Orvis Fly Fishing Guide versus the, I hope you have, against the LL Bean Ultimate Guide. Now, I'm going to give you some insights on this book versus this one, the Orvis Fly Fishing Guide, 2nd edition, with more than 200,000 copies sold, completely revised and updated. This book is in my opinion, is the ultimate beginner's guide. Let's get down to the introduction first. We got introduction. What is fly fishing? Fly rods and line sizes, lines and reels, leaders and knots, fly casting, flies, fly selection, stream tactics, still water, that's lakes by the way, I couldn't remember in the last video. Salmon and steelhead, salt water, striking, playing, and landing, accessories, care of fly fishing tactics, or tackle, resources, and index. I'm going to tell the truth, and one thing that I did is I skipped saltwater. I wasn't interested in saltwater fishing, so I skipped it. But the book was very well good. Now, first of all, I want to say what my favorite part of this guide is this part here. I'm going to go to the graph for a second. It says, matching line sizes to fish species, fly sizes, weight 1 through 14. There's 15, but it's very rare to get a hold of, by the way, apparently. Size 1 is trout with small flies and small streams. Trout in small to medium rivers is 2. Trout in big rivers and lake is 3. But if you match them up to the length and match them up here, it explains what one is what. You can go 2, etc. And it shows here the graph. So, for example, you could be fishing with 1 through 3 for small streams. 14 and 15 will be like tuna, sailfish, and marlin. So you got to match this graph with this graph to understand what fly rod type you need for the species. The only other one that did that was Fly Fishing for Dummies, by the way. Then I like how it talks about the rod materials. I'm not really interested. They talk about this graph here. Slow, medium, and fast action fly rods. That is a good benefit. The other one did the same, the LL Bean, but, this one is just like the Ultimate. This talks about this here, which everyone has, is your tapers. Your floating line, like your sink rates, your weight forward double taper shooting head. They both talked about it. That one there didn't have much of a guide. Talks about your reels here, what you got to use, etc. What reels do what, left hand, right hand. Then it talks about your leaders, what leaders and knots, leader types. Then it goes into this. This is something that I found to be very interesting. Now, both LL Bean and this has it really good, but I highly recommend this one for the leaders and knots. Talks about all your knots, triple surgeon knot, etc. Talks about your tippet, what size of tippet you use for what type of fish. Smaller the fish, the more lightly you need the smaller tippet. Maybe a small tippet or one up from a small. Then it talks about leaders and knots, how to improve your more knots, etc. Then you got fly casting. Fly casting, it's got the little people thing here. It talks to you how to handle your hand, hand movement. Now, I was kind of disappointed in the fly casting section. LL Bean's got it made, except for these little pictures here, when it talks about things, and etc. And then, it says here line control. That's pretty good. It's got color photos. False casting. Variations of the overhead cast. It talks about different things. Distance cast. Then it goes back to the double hull, etc. with these little pictures. It doesn't really talk about, the spade cast. Then it goes into flies. Talks about, what flies you need, etc. Fly patterns, etc. What to use. And, talks about a little bit about everything. And then it goes fly selection. Fly selection's not bad either. Then you got fly selections, fly hatches, fly this, panfish, salmons, etc. Once you get into this part here and you get over the flies, which I'm trying to speed this up, then I'm talking about filling your fly tackle box. What they recommend for you to fish on what fish, which is really good. I found this to be really good in that aspect. LL Bean wasn't there. Stream tactics was kind of running out of gas there, but that's because they didn't really do much, and still water was the thing, but it did have a good thing at Stream Tactics. You know, Stream Tactics were really good. Still water wasn't that bad either, and then it gets into what fish. And then you go into salmon and steelhead, and it talks about a little bit about salmon and steelhead, etc. You can get a salmon and steelhead book, by the way, by Orvis. Sorry, the Orvis guide here, in my opinion, is really good. It talks about catching and releasing, if you're going to eat your fish, what to do to get them better, accessories. It talks about waders, and talks about shoes, and talks about vests and bags and tackle boxes and hats and etc. All this stuff is needed. When you get down to the nitty gritty, this book, in my opinion, is a lot better than this one, hands down. Do I recommend it? Yes. Do I recommend looking into it? I think they should have done a little more with Stream Side Guide for streams, putting this information into that giant book. But they had to make smaller books, or make books so they can make more money and give knowledgeable for fisher people. I highly recommend this book. I give this book 5 stars overall because of everything. You can get past the little pictures, but if you can't and you really want to learn fly casting a little better, go with the LL Bean and go and get this guide to go hand in hand. I'll tell you, it will work. I told Aaron that when I buy the Orvis Fly Fisher Guide, I don't care. I'm taking one copy with me for my all everyday use one, and then I'm taking another one for my bookshelf, just for a backup. So, with that said, 5 stars. Please add and subscribe if you like. Please post comments in the box if you like. Please add me as a friend. Please subscribe. And please post any comments, suggestions, or feedback. Thank you, and may God bless the world.